Intro, and I'm going to start recording on my computer. That way I can basically critique myself afterwards, because there's always room for improvement. All right, let me go into presentation mode here, and I've got my double screen going so that I can make sure that I'm seeing what I'm supposed to see on the screen for everybody. So aloha and good morning, aloha or good afternoon. It is afternoon, it is past noon already. Bonjour, which is another way of saying hello. And yes, since I'm from Belgium, that's Belgium and French is actually very similar. So some people would say that's French, but that's the same in Belgium. So some of you also know one of my kiddos, Jacob, AKA my bodyguard. And he does introduce himself as my bodyguard. Can you believe it? He's going to be 20 actually next month. Where does the time go? I don't know. He just keeps on growing. But Jacob likes to help me with making flatbread dinner. So flatbread dinner is something very basic. Simple ingredients where we've got flour, salt, oil, and water. And it is super yummy. We like to do all sorts of toppings with things like pizza style, or other times we'll put fruits on there, like mash up some apple bananas that we have in the backyard and then drizzle some honey. Sometimes we put peanut butter and honey, or we just like to dip it in some olive oil and salt. So there's all sorts of ways that we like to enjoy it. But even with the same ingredients, I can definitely get some different outcomes. And if I forget an ingredient, then it's a whole other story. So in BNI, we do have a recipe, and show of hands, show me some hands here if you know what I'm talking about. Do I see any hands? I see some hands. All right. And hopefully what you're thinking of is the power of one, which is, and I see head shaking, yes. All right, woohoo! So power of one. So the power of one, the recipe includes both ingredients and quantities. And these are the actions that have been proven to build strong businesses. And another raise of hand here. Who has joined BNI to build a strong business? All right, I saw some hands go, woof. Yep, instant. That's the whole point. And so in BNI, we have the power of one, where we look at attendance, referrals, one-to-ones, CEUs, and visitors. And we have that gauge. What we call that gauge is the power of one report, where members can check to see which areas they can fine tune and also focus on to put some power into their business through BNI. So greens and yellows are the best zones to plug in, where maybe there could be an area or two to fine tune. And then reds and grays, those are the zones that have a lot of room for growth. So it helps us to see how we're doing in business and networking and BNI in general, because they all tie in together. So the first column of this gauge, of this report, is the overall gauge. So it's an average of over the past 6 months. And as you can see, this is the overall for your chapter with a blend of yellows, reds, and some grays. And if you are not sure which one is yours, we can chat about that on a one-to-one. But from the overall, we can all look at the individual components after that. And those individual components are the ingredients to your business success. So let's check this one out. Woo-hoo! We have some greens, we have some yellows. So let me see some high fives. High fives, high fives. All right, I got some high fives. Even virtual, we can still high five. So greens and yellows. And yellows are probably simply from having a sub here and there, or maybe arriving late or leaving early during the meeting. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's not like, oh, you got a yellow. It's like, no, it's like, it's just a gauge. Things where you're at, and also where there's room for improvement. And some things, it's just the way that they are. So moving on to the next one, that would be referrals. So personally, there are a good number of ways that I can improve on my referral giving. And who can share an example of what I can do to improve how I give referrals? Go ahead and unmute yourself and share. Not everybody all at once.
Well, sometimes I just need to remember to put them online, honestly.
So turn in the referrals.
Yeah, turn them in. Do them and turn them in.
and how do we turn them in?
On our phone. Well,
yeah, we can use the app, the BNI Connect app, or we can do it on the computer. That's for sure. So turning them in, then they will show up on your gauge, and at the same time, it notifies the other person that there is a referral, and then you can do the tracking and follow up and see how the referral went. For me, I know that there's a number of things that I can do to improve on my referral giving. And then also things that I can improve if I'm not receiving referrals that I'm asking for. And I probably need to be more specific in my communication. So for example, so listen to these two scenarios. For example, let's say that I'm having a one-to-one with you. Which do you think would be more effective and stick more in your mind? One, a good referral for me is a business owner that wants to appreciate their customers by sending a thank you note. Or two, a good referral for me is that I love to network with business coaches for solopreneurs. So next time that you do a one-to-one with a business coach, ask if it's okay to do an email intro. Which one do you think is going to be more effective? Go ahead and type it in the chat. Scenario 1 or scenario 2? See a 1.
I mean, I kind of wanted to pick both, but I don't know.
All right. So apparently there was something specific about both. Personally, when I have asked for a business owner that wants to appreciate their customers by sending thank you notes, it doesn't really click with the people that I share that information with. However, when I say something like, next time that you have a one-to-one with a business coach, and that I would love to network with business coaches, that triggers more, because then I also say, ask if you can do an email intro. So the more specific we can be with our ask, the more we're going to receive the referrals that we want, and also the easier it is for the others to make that connection and that referral. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right. I see some heads nodding. That's awesome. All right, next one is visitors. So visitors, they can help in creating more connection. And that's where relationships start. That's where new business can come from. And that is also where referral partnerships can form in addition to your BNI team. So think of visitors as part of a stream. Visitors help to keep the water flowing. And if there's no water flow, eventually that water can get some scum built up, and also the water can eventually dry up, which is not a very beautiful analogy, but that's what came to mind. And actually what came to mind first was the swimming pool in Grandma's backyard, to where it was like nice and green. Nobody wanted to swim in that pool. So I have a question for you to write down. So I hope you have pen and paper so you can write down this question, and it's something for you to write down and think about. Who do you know that could benefit from meeting one of your BNI members? And it's not who would benefit from joining your chapter, it's from meeting one of your BNI members. Invite that person to one of the meetings. You never know who else that they will benefit from meeting when they come to your chapter, even if joining is not a good fit for them. The point is to create a bridge that makes a connection. All right. Here we've got some Christmas colors happening. Here we're talking about one-to-ones. And one-to-ones are like the glue that brings everything together. And that's something that also Deandra was talking with podcast 698 that she was talking about today. And when you schedule your one-to-one, you're looking at what time works for both. You exchange your dance card. And by the way, those of you that have a one-to-one scheduled with me and that use my scheduling link, you see in the confirmation, there's also a link for my one-to-one dance card. That way you can check it out and we can have a conversation about different things. And something very key when you do your one-to-one is as you wrap it up with a plan of action. Who are you going to make an introduction with? Who are you going to make that connection? And how are you going to make that connection? So important keys to your one-to-ones. CEUs, as we get close to wrapping up here the information, CEUs, continuing education units. Check it out. We've got a little bit of Christmas color happening again. Whoop, whoop. I love Christmas colors. So now you have something, I have something else for you to write down, and it's a new website. And that is the best place for all BNI members to start at. And I would highly recommend that even existing members check out that page. And I'm going to go ahead and give that to you. Are you ready? It's got pretty cool updates for you to discover. And I see Bill's head going, yes, 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 I'm ready. Awesome. It is bniwelcome.com. So it's a wonderful place to start at, bniwelcome.com. It has the links for your resources, introductions, how-tos, even how to do BNI Connect. So a lot of great things on there. bniwelcome.com, whether you're brand new or existing, go check it out. So we just went through the Power of One report and the gauge for the recipe for your successes in BNI. And I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up with two things. If you're wondering which colors were yours as we went through, let's do a one-to-one so we can look at where the gauge is for you and explore the possibilities. And if you know which colors are yours, that would be number 2. Let's do a one-to-one, and I want you to tell me how I can best support your success. So here is my scheduling link. You feel free to take a screenshot or writing it down, and let's go ahead and do a one-to-one. And with that, I'm going to turn things back over to Mr. Jared.
Thank you very much, Marianne.
Thank you.